To Button Mashers, and today there's another episode about Stella Blade. Because I felt like this just didn't hook on with the other one, because we were talking about sales, but I'll link the episode about that at the end of this one if you're interested in, the sales stuff. But, anyways, if not, we're going to talk about another thing that's going on with Stella Blade. Is that, guess what? Stella Blade's CEO, the CEO shift up, was asked his view on non-gentleman skin mods, which, medium adult mods. And he said he sees no reason to regulate adult mods. He believes it's up to users to decide how they enjoy the game, as the game is rated M. And then he also goes on, Kim supports ownership. Once users buy the game, it's theirs. Intervention only happens if public harm occurs, otherwise self-regulation applies. You know what? I 100% agree with. At the end of the day, this is a rated M game. I mean, literally, the lady gets Stella Blade's, I think it's mentor, literally got her arm ripped off or cut off by the alpha alien thingy. So come on, the little boobage won't hurt. Some people, the boobs will hurt them and make you melt. It's like that SpongeBob scene where, in the movie, where instead of Triton's bald head, they see Eve in a tight outfit, and they're like, my eyes, it burns. If you know what scene I'm talking about in a SpongeBob movie, that's the comparison I'm making. Context of it, it says, I'm sorry to ask a similar question, but there are also cases where quality characters are used in inappropriate, so-called shady places. Will you respond to these cases as well? And this is what Kim Hyung Tae. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. He said, as I said earlier, we sold the game to the users. This may be a bit sensitive, but in a situation where many game companies approach the concept of renting games, we believe that this is important for the users to own the games. In other words, the game is now owned by the user. This, my personal opinion, which may differ for someone's official position. How you use your possessions is your freedom. However, there's responsibility to share them with others. I think that's the area of responsibility is beyond our intervention. Of course, if it spreads to a situation that harms the public, we should take action. But I have not seen that case yet. I think it is a problem that can be solved through self-regulation of individuals and community, rather than a problem of whether it's a shady or sunny place. And I believe it's in positive function. This is from the other Twitter, where it's full responses. The most sought out thing among users in mods is probably skins. Skins are also divided into so-called gentlemen and non-gentleman skins. Do you plan on imposing some kind of sanctions on skins that are made in a form that is rated more than adult? For example, do you think new patches need sanctions, or are they considered user choice? This is the CEO again with his answer. Stella Blade is rated unsuitable for minors, so I don't think there is any justification for regulating such mods, and realistically, there is no proper way to regulate them. As you know, there probably aren't any cases where mods are completely controlled by developers. What I'm worried about is that rather than having too many people make patches like that and selling them at high prices, I hope that users enjoy the creative culture like a party where they all enjoy it together. It's is user's freedom, and I think it is entirely up to the user to choose how to enjoy the game once they own it. So I have no intention of sanctioning such matters. However, since you all are mature members of society, I believe you will act within the bounds of common sense and be careful of antisocial or sensitive matters. I agree 100%. If people want to put uh, Eve in a cow print bra and cow print pantyhose, and yes, has a skin, which I commented and dubbed the got milk skin. But anyways, that's perfectly fine. It's within the realm, and like I think this, even if there were bad flavor mods, it's not essentially in the game. It's optional. And if you want something optional, that's perfectly fine. I think the problem is if you try to enforce these mods, you're gonna just play a game of whack-a-mole that is not worth the time and energy. Because you're gonna have to make patches, sue the sites, put time into legal fees, and all that stuff. And all that time and effort could have been to making either, like, let's say, Stella Blade 2 or just another great game. Bring the company in more money. This really feels like a sort of him saying, I respect the players, in a way. Because if they just want to share pictures of, Eve twerking um, in a bodysuit, which I don't think twerking is in now, but that's something I can think of right now. But essentially sharing pictures about it, that's their choice. I mean, someone said he finds them boring, and it's like, yeah, but that's his taste. Some people may not want adult mods, and some people do, and that's perfectly fine. And if it's a single player game like Stella Blade, it really doesn't affect anyone. Like, that's just it at the end of the day. I think many companies have, especially Western ones, realize at the end of the day that their products are consumer products. Yes, there is an art to making video games, to writing, and all that stuff. But the problem is if you treat it as sort of a golden cow and this very Puritan value, it's gonna backfire. And then on top of that, many Westerners, especially Western developers, the ones who are in the C-suite to the corporate HR, really don't respect the players. It really shows, especially when they go out to calling video gamers chuds and then shame them on all social media, from Facebook, Twitter, to their podcasts, to their blog sites. It shows. They just called the people who play Stella Blades gooners because of the mods. But it's like, at the end of the day, I don't think Shift Up cares, because they bought Stella Blade. They paid for the product. If they want to have Stella Blade in freaking lingerie doing splits and stuff, they paid for the product. That's it. I mean, if Stella Blade is going to be that victory, hopefully the game, not just because mostly the Korean Chinese studios are going to flourish, or are flourishing right now, but I hope this is the kick in the butt the Western industry needs to realize, hey, maybe we should cater to our audience a little more. But, at this point, I really doubt it. I think the Western industry is going down like a flying zeppelin, or just one of those things like the Titanic. I mean, yes, the Titanic hit the iceberg and sunk, but if you actually know the whole story, the Titanic was faulty to begin with. So yeah, um, I'm just at the end of the day, I'm just glad Shift Up is respecting their players, and I hopefully more companies see how this is bringing more sales. But again, only time will tell. Anyways, thank you for listening. Hope you have a good one. Happy gaming. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated. And thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.